We're going to unpack this election with political analyst Radu Magdin. He's joining us from Romania's capital, Bucharest. Thanks so much for speaking to us. So the favorite candidate going into this vote is George Simion. He's the leader of the Alliance for the Union of Romanians. What is it about him and his party's policies that many voters seem to like?
So first of all, Mr. Simion was already part of the electoral options package back in November. Back then, he scored a very honorable fourth place. Now he's the beneficiary not only of his own autonomous kind of popularity, but he's also the beneficiary of a boost of endorsement by Mr. Georgescu. Today, that endorsement was pretty clear because the two went together to a voting polling station. So they kind of signaling to the electorate they would like to merge their voters. So don't be surprised if tomorrow in the morning we're going to see that not only Mr. Simion is in the second round, but he's in the second round with more than 35% of the vote.
So you don't believe that one candidate will win the 50% needed to ensure that this doesn't go to a second round?
The best indicator for how much the radical parties representing Romanian societies are, in fact, the result of the parliamentary elections. And all of these parties combined, Mr. Simion's AUR, Mr. Georgescu's POT, and Mrs. Șoșoaca's SOS, were together around 35% of the electorate. Now, of course, depending on who mobilizes for participation, this could go up to 40%. So, for example, we have seen impressive numbers of people voting in the diaspora. And what we noticed in last year's elections is that Romanians abroad seem to favor now Mr. Simion and Mr. Georgescu. But since Mr. Simion is the only one on the ballot, of course, they will mostly go to him. So there is a high probability he will score beyond 35%, but it's almost impossible for him to win round one with 50-something%.
And the Romanian diaspora does make up about 7 or 8% of the vote, so that could really be key here.
Indeed.
But what are the main issues that voters are taking into account when they go to cast their ballots today? We've seen across the world in several elections a high cost of living, economic issues. Are these similar to what Romanians will also be keeping in mind?
This has been ignored as a topic because all too often, as always, party campaigns and presidential campaigns, they focus on elements of polarization, which they believe can mobilize best people to vote. So, for example, the opponents of Mr. Simion are trying to polarize this election into some kind of a referendum, that you are pro-Europe if you're voting with Mr. Simion opponents, whereas you're anti-Europe and if you're with Mr. Simion. But things are not so simple. In fact, in Romania, like in other democratic markets in Europe, but also in the US, what we see is a combination of factors which, in fact, make the people vote against the system, against the mainstream parties. First of all, honestly, in the past 5 years, we have seen deteriorating living conditions, not in Romania, but also in other countries. Our economies have been affected by COVID. They have been affected by Russia's war on Ukraine. They have been affected by energy crisis and so on. So yes, you are perfectly right. The economy is important, but the economy was the number one topic. Perhaps also because our president particularly deals with foreign affairs, defense, and judicial nominations. But the narratives are mostly geopolitical. But what drives people is also, at least the supporters of Mr. Simion, it drives a profound dissatisfaction with the current political class, which, of course, they hope to overturn.
And we'll see what happens when those results do come out. Radu Magdin in Bucharest, political analyst. Thank you very much.
It's me thanking you.